My name's Amanda Gall. I never really knew my grandfather, but I can tell what he would have been like from all the stories I've heard from my family. His name was Isaac Cahill, and he was a veteran of World War II. He was in the U.S. Navy. But he died of Alzheimer's disease when I was little. However, if I could have a conversation with him, this is how I imagined it would go. Grandpa, I heard you were in the U.S. Navy, and I'd like to know why you chose to put yourself in such a dangerous position, as I would ask with wondering eyes. Well, it's kind of a long story. I said, I've always got the time for you. Well, it started when I was just 16 years of age. I didn't get along very well with my father, so I ran away to Newport News, Virginia, to work in the shipyard. Then when I was 19, I was inducted into the U.S. Navy. I knew that war was a dangerous place to be, but I needed a job, and I wanted to help serve my country. He said this with a look on his face, as if he were remembering that time in his life like it was yesterday. Oh, tell me more, please, I'd say with a smile across my face. What was your rank in the Navy? Well, I started as an apprentice seaman, and then I went to second-class seaman, then to first-class seaman, and then from there to first-class fireman. At the end of my service, I was third-class machinist mate. That's a lot of things to be responsible for. But what were your jobs? I asked. Talking with Grandpa was very interesting. Well, I was a bow runner, which is a person in the front of the ship who is armed for any oncoming attacks. I also worked in the kitchen some. Were you ever attacked? I questioned, yet fearing what he might say. Yes. I remember one time the ship was under fire. An iron mast fell across my chest. I came close to dying. I was in the San Diego Naval Hospital for 3 months recovering. He said this as if he were remembering the pain. Oh my goodness. Were you able to go back to the war zone? Yes. I completed my term in Okinawa. What was the hardest thing about the war? Seeing people dying was definitely the hardest thing. I witnessed the death of my best friend. I had nightmares about it for weeks. You know how some people cry at war movies because of all the people dying? People always think the brave ones never cry. This might be news to you, but every time I watch a war movie or the Titanic, because it reminds me of all the people dying during that time, I cry. He said all of this as if it was like he was there. He was holding back tears, or even just telling me the story. His heart was aching. Were there any good times? I asked hopefully. Yes, there were a few. I remember one time after we men had gotten paid, we sneaked out to the middle of the woods and gambled, which was against the rules. Do not follow in those footsteps, please. Well, anyway, I had just won the jackpot, and I reached down to grab all of the money, and at that second, a big black boot stepped on the money. I looked back, and my captain was standing behind me with his arms crossed and a scowl across his face. My grandpa quietly was laughing to himself. Wow, Grandpa, I didn't take you for a rule breaker. Anything else you want to tell me? Well, there was one good thing. What was that? I don't know if I should tell you. Please, please, please. Oh, all right. Back to the South Pacific Islands. When our ship was docked, my whole crew enjoyed watching those hula dancers. Oh, those hula dancers. Grandpa? Well, you told me to tell you, and I hadn't even met your grandmother yet. Don't worry. Oh, all right. Well, I have one last question. What was it? What impact did the war have on you? That's a very good question. I think the biggest impact is learning how precious life is, and that you can't waste 1 second of it. I also learned that U.S. pays a high price to maintain its freedom. I'm very proud to be an American. Thanks, Grandpa.